All right, welcome back. This is Engage New York, Module 4, Lesson 5. This is the problem set, but this is concept development and problem set. So we're going to go through all of these problems together. So you do have all of this sitting in your Mrs. Keenan All Her Problems book, but this is the problem set student packet, right? Okay, so you can either do it in your book or do it on the problem set page here. So let's begin. A total of 2 yards of fabric is used to make 5 identical pillows. How much fabric is used for each pillow? So I have 2 yards and I'm dividing them into 5 equal pillows. So 5 equal pieces of material. So what is that going to look like? So you have 2 holes and you're dividing it by 5. So 2 divide 5, right? Now, I have 2, and remember, whenever you're dividing, you're really multiplying. You're multiplying by the reciprocal, right? So when we come down here, we change the sign and we put the 1, we flip 5 over 1 to 1 over 5. So that equals, so technically there's a 1 under the 2 there. So 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. So what does that mean? Well, it means, well, let's draw a picture. Let's draw 2 tape diagrams to model this out, shall we? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each one of these is cut up into, so this is 1 yard. This is 1 yard. So 1 yard plus 1 yard, 2 yards, right? All together. So if I'm going to take 1/5 from this yard and 1/5 from this yard. That's going to give me 2/5, right? 2/5, 2/5. Another way of doing it, if you were to draw a tape diagram, you could say this is 1 yard and this is 1 yard, right? And you could cut it up into 5 equal pieces. Grab 1 yard here, 1 yard here. You end up with 2/5 of a yard. So the answer is, remember, this is the answer, what I'm writing right now. Each pillow uses 2/5 yard of fabric. Okay, so this is how you answer the question. You don't just write 2/5. All right, so what is our next problem? Our next problem is an ice cream shop uses 4 pints of ice cream to make 6 sundaes. So 4 holes, and you're dividing it into 6 equal sundaes because someone's going to get upset if they don't get the same amount of ice cream. So how many pints of ice cream are used for each sundae? So you have 4 holes, and you're dividing into 6 equal parts. Now, what does this look like? Remember, when you're dividing by something, you're actually multiplying by the reciprocal. So 4. Now we have to flip. Remember, it's like the inverse. We're going to flip the operation. So we're starting with division. We're going to flip it to multiplication, and that normally would be 6 over 1. Now it becomes 1 over 6. Now we multiply because technically there's a 1 under that 4, that whole. So 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 6 is 6. But we're not going to leave it like that because remember, what do we know? That 4 is really 2 times 2 over 2 times 3. Because 2 over 2 is equal to 1, we can cancel that out. And now it's 2/3. But is that really our answer? No, this isn't technically the answer. You have to write it like this in order for it to be the correct answer. So now let's do it with a tape diagram. Here's 1 quart. Here's 2 quarts. Here's 3 quarts. Here's 4 quarts. Now we're going to break this up into 6 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if someone gets a part of this, a part of this, a part of this, and a part of this, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, right? Because each one of these is equal to a 6th. Another way to do it would be make 24, break it up into 24 because 6 times 4 is 24, and then break it up and grab them like we did up here, and you would end up with the same thing. So the answer is 2/3 pint of ice cream is used in each sundae. And remember, sundaes, this kind of sundae doesn't have a Y. All right. Moving on to problem 3. An ice cream shop uses 6 bananas, so 6 wholes, to make 4 identical sundaes. So now we're going to take 6 bananas and divide it into 4 equal sundaes, 4 equal parts. How many bananas are used in each sundae? Use a tape diagram to show your work. So what we could do, so let's start with our 6 wholes. We have 6 wholes, and we're going to divide into 4 equal groups, right? Or parts. 4 equal groups, 4 equal parts. Now remember, what do we know? When we divide, our second number becomes a reciprocal. So 6, now we have to use the reciprocal operation. The opposite or inverse operation of division would be multiplication. We're going to use the reciprocal of 4 wholes. Remember, 4 over 1 becomes 1 over 4. This becomes 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. Now, that's an improper fraction, and we can't leave it as an improper fraction. So we're going to take 4 out of 4 out of this fraction, plus 2 over 4, because 4 plus 2 is 6, right? And we keep that. So 1 over 4 over 4 equals 1 and 2/4. But 1 and 2/4 is really equal to 1 1/2. But 1 1/2 of what? Bananas, right? Now it says to use a tape diagram too. Now this is the algebraic way of solving. Now let's use a tape diagram. So if we have 6 bananas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 bananas. Now we're going to divide each banana into 4 equal groups, right? So if each Sunday got one of these, 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 that would be 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 would equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6/4, right? Which we know gives us 1.5. So our answer is each Sunday gets 1.5 bananas. All right. So hopefully this is coming along for you. You're using the algebraic form to help you solve it, or you're using your tape diagram to show yourself. Make a picture. Always draw it out. I always draw out my word problem. Anytime I'm trying to solve a word problem, I always draw a picture. All right, let's keep going. There are 7 problems altogether. So here we are. Julian has to read 4 articles for school. So 4 wholes. He has 8 nights to read them. So 8 equal parts, right? He decides to read the same number of articles each night. So that means equal parts, right? How many articles will he have to read per night? So here's 4 wholes divided equally into 8 parts. So what do we know? Whenever we're dividing by this number right here, it actually becomes the inverse operation. So 4, and now we're going to use the inverse operation. 1/8. This is technically 4/1. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 8 is 8. 4/8 is equal to 1/2. So 1/2 what? He has to read half of what? He has to read half of an article each night for 8 nights, right? All right, so now let me show you another algebraic way. So if you have 8 units or 8 parts, right? So 8 nights. And you have 4 articles. So you have 8 nights for 4 articles. So in order to take that, we need to figure out 1 night. So if I divide by 8, this becomes 1 night or 1 unit. This becomes 4/8, which also looks like 4 divided 8. And that becomes 1/2, right? So remember, this is the actual answer. Julian needs to read 1/2 of an article each night. So, finding out what's your jam. What does your brain like pick up? What do you like, this algebraic way or this algebraic way? All right, so let's keep going. What fraction of reading assignment will he need each night? What fraction of the reading assignment will he read each night? So, if we have 4 nights, right? And we know there are 8 parts, correct? All right, think about that for 1 second and see if you can just draw that out. All right, what did you come up with? So did you start, remember, you could draw a tape diagram. This is equal to 4 articles, and that 4 articles had to be broken up between 8 nights. So let's divide this in half and then go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 8 nights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what fraction of the reading assignment will he read each night? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Isn't this 1/8 plus 1/8 plus dot, 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 1/8? So what fraction does he read? Julian reads 1/8 of the assignment each night. That is the answer. Okay, moving on to something different. 40 students shared 5 pizzas equally. 40 students shared 5 pizzas. So here's a pizza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that equals 40 students divide 5 pizzas equally. How much pizza will each student receive? Pizza 1. So if you had 40 and you had to divide it up into 5, you have 5 pizzas and 40 students. What are you going to do? So 2 different ways to do this. So if I have 40 students, which are 40 wholes, right? So we're not going to break up students. And we're going to divide equally into 5 pizzas, right? Or 5 parts. What fraction of the pizza did each student receive? So here we go. Let's go 40. Now we have to multiply by the reciprocal times 1/5. 40 times 1 is 40. 1 times 5 is 5. 40 over 5, well, we know 40 divided 5 is 8, right? So 8, how much pizza will each student receive? Well, there are going to be 8 people for 1 pizza. So 8 people for 1 pizza. So that tells us how many people are going to share those pizzas, right? Now, I have to think about it. If I divide 1 pizza into 8 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and divide it up, what fraction of the pizza did each student get? So each student gets 1/8 of the 5 pizzas. Remember, that right here is the answer. So I know you probably thought like, oh, well, I just divided and I got 8. 8's the answer. No, 8 isn't the answer, because what fraction of the pizza did each student receive? We had to go to the next question. So how much pizza will each student receive? Well, each student gets 1/8 of the 5 pizzas. Now, Lillian had 2-liter bottles of soda, which she distributed equally between 10 glasses, right? So what is that going to look like? So 2 wholes, right? Which is equal to 2 bottles, 2-liter bottles. Let's write this, 2-liter, right? And we're going to divide it into 10 glasses or 10 parts. So when we're dividing, we're really multiplying by the reciprocal. And remember, this. 2 over 1 is 2 is really 2 over 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 10 is 10. 1/5. I wonder if that's the answer. Is that what we're looking for? Would she distribute how much soda was in each glass? So 1/5 of the 2-liter bottle was in each glass. So express your answer as a fraction of a liter. So it's 1/5 of a liter. Oh, shoot. But guess what? We have 2 of them. So now we need to take our 1/5 and multiply that by 2. What are we going to get? 2/5. 2/5 of a liter is in each glass. Almost forgot about that second liter. We only solved for 1. So another way would be to do this. You could go 10 glasses divide 4 liters, right? 4 liters, because 2 plus 2 is 4, right? So you'd have 4 liters altogether. 2 times 2 would give us 4 liters. Then divide by 10, divide by 10. And this cancels each other out, and this says 1 glass is equal to 4/10. But we're not going to leave that as 4/10. We're going to reduce it to 2/5 of a liter. So we have 2/5 liter in each glass. We have 2/5. We solved it this way. We solved it this way. Which way works better for your brain? All right. Now we're going to express that 4/10. We're going to express 4/10. Times 2. Let's 2/5. So let's take our 2/5. And we're going to express that as a decimal number. Now, in order to make a decimal number, you remember decimals come in tenths, hundredths, and thousands, right? So I need to change this into a tenth. So in order to do that, I'm going to multiply this by 2 and this by 2, and it takes me back to 4/10. Now, 4/10. What does 4/10 look like? Well, it looks like 0.4. So it's 0.4 liters of soda in each glass. So being able to do this right here to take your answer and change it into a fraction. So remember, you're going to have to either take your number and turn it into tenths, hundredths, or thousands. So you're going to have to figure out what you're going to multiply by in order to get to either tenth, hundredth, or thousandth. All right, now we're going to express it as milliliters. So tenths, hundredths, mil, 1,000. Well, what do we know? We know 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters, right? So if we take 0.4 and we multiply it by 1,000, our decimal, remember, our number is going to get bigger because we're multiplying. So your number is going to expand. So our decimal moves really how many times? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You end up with 400 milliliters. So each glass has 400 milliliters of soda. All right. Okay, the last two problems. The Cala family likes to paddle along the Susquehanna River. They paddle the same distance each day over the course of 3 days. So 3 days, traveling a total of 14 miles. So total, the whole 14 miles divided by 3 days. How many miles did they travel each day? Show your thinking in a tape diagram. So if this is 14 miles, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Here's 14. 14 miles divided by 3 days. How are we going to break that up? So it's 14 holes or 14 miles, and you're dividing it equally into 3 days. So as we know, we're going to divide here, which is really like multiplying by the reciprocal. So we're going to change. We're going to flip over our division to multiplication. 14 times 1 is 14. This is like 14 over 1. So 1 times 3 is 3. So how many times will 3 go into 14? It's going to go 4. There's going to be 4 holes with 2/3 left over. So 4 and 2/3 miles. Another way to solve it, if we went 3 days, is equal to 14 miles. And we got rid of this and we figured out now this cancels and I end up with 1 day is equal to 14 over 3, which is the same as 4 and 2/3 miles. So this, the Cala family traveled 4 and 2/3 miles each day. Now, this final problem has 3 steps to it. If the Caliphs went half their distance, their daily distance each day, but extended their trip to twice as many days, how far would they actually go? How far would they travel? Because now they're extending their trip by twice as many days. All right, so we're going to start off with half the distance. So now we're going to go half their distance each day. So we're going to take 4 and 2/3. And if I just used a number bond like this, I would know that was 2 and 1/3. So 4 and 2/3, if I broke 4 and 2/3 up into half the distance, well, 2, I could break 4 up into 2 and 2, and 2/3 would equal 1/3 and 1/3. So now let's go twice as many days. So how many days are they traveling? So they're traveling 3 days, right? And now they're going twice as many days. So now they're going 6 days, right? So now I need to go 2 and 1/3 times 6 days is going to equal what? So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7/3 because you cannot multiply a mixed number like that. You have to convert it to an improper fraction. I am going to cross cancel here just to make it easier. I'm going to take, that's going to end up. So now 7 times 2 is 14. So I end up with 14 miles. Now, if you think about that, and you went 6 days is equal to, so if you think about it for a minute, 6 days And if you went 2 1/3 6 times, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6. So if you added it up, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then you have 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 is 1. And then 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 is another 1. That would equal 14 miles. So the caliphs traveled 14 miles. All right, that is it. So these problems are going to go exactly with the homework. So we have gone through each problem. I've shown you how I've solved each one of them and the different ways. There's several different ways many times in order to solve. So just go ahead and use the strategy that works best for you. So that's going to do it for Engage New York, Module 4, Lesson 5.